AI allows you to be that superhero version of yourself.
True.
Right? I talk about what growing up at Apple kind of did for me.
How do I raise capital?
The capital that you need to start a business is
Today on Masterminds, we are joined by Mushambi Mutuma, tech leader, author, and one of Africa's leading voices on innovation and AI readiness. With over 18 years building brands across Africa and the US, he has made a career of translating complex technology into real-world action. What is your take on the AI rush going on in the world right now?
man. Leadership sometimes is about cutting.
Accuracy does not even exist. Accuracy only exists after you've made the decision.
I think one thing that doesn't get spoken about enough is the curse of success.
Let's talk about your book.
The benefit of failures is so many lessons learned.
Before we jump into the conversation, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for supporting and deciding to watch this episode. But now I have a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribing to the channel helps me and the entire Masterminds team to continue bringing you wonderful conversations and episodes that bring you closer to being the mastermind you deserve to be. So join the community. Mushambi, thank you so much for coming on Masterminds.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for the platform and all the work that you do and for having me.
Oh, thank you. I'm hoping we just have a nice conversation, interrogate your mindset, help my viewers be able to understand how they can succeed like you have if they have the right mindset.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
I always like to start my interviews by this. I want to understand the young version of you.
Yeah.
I want to understand what growing up was like that helped build the mindset that you have today.
Sure, it's a deep question, man. So I'm originally from Zimbabwe. That's where I was born, and spent a few years there. I left Zim to go to the US when I was 5. But I think I distinctly remember growing up with my grandfather. Okay. Him and I had a very close relationship. He was just this larger than life figure, this huge guy. He was a preacher, and we were very close. And I like to tease my cousins and family that I was his last favorite before he passed away. And so I just remember him pouring into me. And I still, even though I only spent 5 years with him, I still have a vivid remembrance of him and his faith and his just kindness. And I try to model my life against the man that he was.
Nice.
And so, yeah, man, he just poured into me and poured a lot of confidence into me. I was also the only child for about 8 years before my sister came along. So I think I got a lot of my parents' attention when I was growing up, and they fueled my curiosity. They put me into sports and different activities. And yeah, I got that only child experience for a very long time that really just, I think, pushed my curiosity for life and for understanding things.
Okay, so that means curiosity, early confidence, and an amazing grandfather.
An amazing grandfather.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So what moment do you think started to shape you to make you see that great future for yourself? I read you talking about when you walked into Apple as a young African.
Yeah. So that's, man. So my father in particular has always been in technology. Even when he was in Zim, working in the UK, and then shifted into the US. So we went to the US in the early 90s, and I think my dad started at Apple in 1994. And so that was right when Steve Jobs had come back after kind of leaving Apple. He had returned. And yeah, man. So my childhood, for much of it, was growing up essentially at Apple, and having the privilege of meeting Steve when I was about 12 years old. And I think really growing up there and growing up seeing my dad in this environment and getting to travel to Silicon Valley, every few months with him, was just seeing this boom happen live in real life, and Apple really transitioning from just a computer company to kind of the brand that we know and love. And I got to tinker, man. He brought home different gadgets every day, every week that I just got to play with. And I got to test out games and new software that they were thinking about. And it was just an amazing childhood to be able to play with all these tools and to have so much fun with them and just grow up in that environment and watch the brand scale from kind of like small company to this global phenomenon.
Yeah.
So it's an incredible one. Yeah.
So that means right from you started to add gadgets to your life.
Yeah.
But you're the same person who tells me that it's not about gadgets, it's about mindset.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
So how does that play in,
Yeah, man, I think, for me, and being in that environment and being around all this innovation, I think you get to see the benefit of gadgets and the benefit of technology. But I think, one of Apple's early campaigns in the mid 90s was a campaign, this big, massive marketing campaign called Think Different. And that was what the company stood for. It wasn't just about the devices. It wasn't just about the technology. It was, if you're going to come here into this environment, we want you to think and be in a different way. And if you're going to interact with our products, we want our products to allow you to think and be a different way. And I think that's always kind of landed in the back of my mind that, as you say, mindset and curiosity and passion, that's what technology enables. More than it is just about this. It's just a tool. This device that we're on, these tools that we're using, the cameras around the room.
It's more of what you can do with it.
It's what you can do with it, right? It's what you can build with this platform like you have. The stories that you can tell, the excellence that you can inspire. That's a different thing, where the technology is really the tool to help you enable that.
In your keynote, what's it called? I shook hands with Steve. So talk to me about that. What kind of philosophies do you feel that it gave you that change of trajectory?
So I think, man. So I mean, essentially in that keynote is one of a few that I talk about. I talk about what growing up at Apple kind of did for me and seeing that innovation firsthand and seeing the culture that Steve actually built and what that meant for people and what it meant into pouring into the products that they were trying to build and the philosophies they built. One of the ones that I love the most is that when Steve rejoined Apple, they were about 2 weeks or 2 months away from going bankrupt. The company was in dire straits. And at that time, they had 314 different products. Right? They had a product for everything. He shifted that, got rid of all of that, got rid of a lot of people, and brought that down to 4 products. Right? They had a laptop and a desktop computer, one for business and corporate, and one for personal use. That's it. Right? And what that shift did is that, leadership sometimes is about cutting down and thinking about simplicity and pouring into just what we do the absolute best and making yourself known for that alone. And there's so many examples and stories about Steve and the culture that he built and the ability that he put into his people to kind of think outside of reality about what could be potentially possible. Right. And when I tell that story and those stories and advise clients with kind of that keynote, it's really about that culture and the mindset of what you can then achieve and how a culture is actually more important than anything else, and how pushing your people to imagine beyond is actually more important than anything else. Then the business model comes, then products come, then operations come, but really that's what set Apple first. And that's what set the business to what it is that we all essentially know and love. Right?
So one thing people always talk about when they talk about culture, next is building systems. And I've personally realized that one thing we suffer with in Africa a bit is building systems. What do you think attributes to that, and how can we build better systems for ourselves?
I don't know. I think we're really good at just making a plan and making things work, right? By hook or crook or whatever way we figure it out, right? And I think sometimes our ingenuity might get in the way of our systems because we don't need a system. We're always just going to make a plan.
We'll find a way.
I'm going to trust this guy. Whatever you're going to do today, you're going to sort this thing out, And I think that maybe gets in the way of building the systems that we have. But I think if you can compound our African creativity and ingenuity and passion and push to do more, and our ability, our work effort, which is I think is our superpower, if you can put that on top of systems, then we can really scale and grow. And I think there's a few kind of case studies that exist like that. I think if you think of platforms like M-Pesa and what that's been able to do and achieve by simply an idea of just helping people exchange money. If you think in the South African context of the 60/60 story in ShopRite and what they've been able to scale in e-commerce. There's also a brother, and I'm forgetting his name, but an African founder of the platform Calendly, which is a platform that's worth I think $2 billion
Yeah.
right? It's just ingenuity, African creativity, problem solving.
Oh, I didn't know
and
Calendly
systems.
was an African
Yeah,
system.
but if I remember correctly, the brother is Nigerian.
Okay.
Originally. Yeah.
Nice.
And he built that up with a 12-man team to a multi-billion-dollar business
Okay.
by leveraging, I guess, our magic, technology, and then systems on top of that. And then you get scale. Yeah. And I think, one of the things that I talk about, especially with founders and young entrepreneurs, is understanding that we have to think with scale in mind also.
Yeah.
And I think systems helps with that, right? Is that instead of this being a Ghanaian business or a South African business or a Joburg business, how can I build initially thinking that all my customers, all my viewers and listeners can be anywhere in the world, right? It's a different mindset.
Yeah.
And then in order to achieve that, of course, you need systems.
Like coming to SA.
That's it, right? So exactly, is that you're already thinking in a Pan-African and a global sense. You're not thinking that this is just a Ghanaian show or platform. This is for anybody, everywhere, all places. And that kind of process, and then, the logistics behind all of that, the scale that you're thinking about, the conversations, the research that you did, which is quite intensive, right, is what allows you to have the success that you're having already with this platform. And I think it's a perfect example as well.
Thank you. But one thing, everybody watching who's trying to start a business has this question.
Yes.
How do I raise capital? Because I hear so many people say, I can't start a business because I don't have capital. Yeah. And then some say, you don't need capital to start a business. Yeah. And then some say, give me money and I'll start a business. Like, where's your stance on that?
I think I probably have a very unpopular stance.
Okay.
And my stance is that the capital that you need to start a business is a customer. That's the most important capital that you can ever get, is actually a customer and convincing one person to give you $1 to do something, right? That's the best, because an investor is super expensive, right? If I give you money right now, if I give you $1 million or I give you $250,000, in 18 months, I want you to double that money, triple that money, quadruple that money,
100%.
Give it back to me, and still have a business.
Yeah, because I could have just put in an investment and
that's
gotten
it.
the money
That's what
back,
I want. So taking capital, taking investment is actually really expensive.
Yeah.
The best way to start a business is to convince a customer, and then you get value, you get loyalty, you build a community. Capital and investment is for scale.
Yeah.
After we've launched, now we're in 4 different markets, or we're in one market and we think there's a path to 4. That's where we take money. Yeah. That's the best way. It's for growth, not for starting. And so I think that it's a really, I'd say it's even a lazy way to build. Sure. Because convincing someone to give you money to start an idea, you're not convincing me you actually have a business and that you're a business person. You're just an idea person and you want some money. Yeah. I think a best way to build a business and to build passion and to actually be an entrepreneur, solve a problem, convince people to give you money for it, and begin. Later on, we can talk about raising money. Yeah.
And I talk about this thing all the time. I talk about failure. Yeah. When I was younger, I used to be afraid of failure. Yes. And then I came to realize, hey, failure is the best thing that can happen to you. It's
important. Yeah.
And you will fail. Whatever business you start, you will fail in some sort of way. Now, failing with your own time, your own experience, your own money is manageable. Yeah. Failing with someone else's money,
exactly. Yeah. It's a tough market, right?
It's very, very tough.
And also, I think the African economy and ecosystem also doesn't have a culture of that, right? Where from an investment standpoint, where I can put in money and not expect anything. Yeah.
Patient capital.
Yeah, right. That doesn't exist here. Here, like I give you money, give it back.
Yes. I'm counting down the days.
Down the days until you're bringing it back. We don't have an ecosystem where that kind of risk and exposure is allowed for. So it's especially hard in this market. Yeah.
One of the most difficult things to do in financial planning is saving and investing towards a big goal. Now, let me tell you my secret that I used to overcome this challenge. I started to do small top-ups consistently on Achieve by Petra to save and invest towards my bigger financial goal. For instance, when I decided to come and shoot Masterminds in South Africa, I decided to top up daily, weekly, anything that I could until I raised enough to afford my tickets, my hotel, everything to bring this podcast to you from South Africa. So if you're like me and you want to overcome this challenge of saving and investing towards a big goal, Use Achieve by Petra. The link is in the description. Let's talk about something interesting.
Yeah.
There's one thing that is turning the world upside down right now that I've heard you talk about intelligently, so I can finally express myself today.
I hope so.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Just first of all, what is your take on the AI rush going on in the world right now?
Man. I think there's two parts, right? I think that we're experiencing the fastest technological boom that has ever existed in mankind ever. And one lens, so it is happening. And at the same time, there's a lot of hype and a lot of noise about the capabilities. And so it's about trying to marry the two, about how do we keep up with this thing that's starting to happen? And then how do we make sure that we're not getting, tripped up by all the promises and all the job losses that are going to occur because of this thing. We're all going to lose our jobs. Nothing is going to exist anymore. Creativity is dead.
They call it the singularity.
That singularity, right? The machines have taken over. And if you've been inside any corporate or inside any bank, you know that we're a long way from the machines taking over. Right? These people haven't figured out Excel, right? Like, let alone AI.
Very true. Right? Look, so even some people's calculators, like, how does this button work?
You see what I mean? So it's both sides, especially in the African context, because we are first world in some environments, and then we're developing world in some environments. So we have to make sure that we keep up and we're globally competitive, but then we also can't leave our population behind. And so how do we use these tools? How do we use this technology to advance ourselves and to push, but to also make sure that, hey, we acknowledge that, there's a lot of people that we have to bring along the journey as well.
So my main reason for bringing AI up as we're talking about startups is it seems like in 2025, 2026 is the easiest time to start up because what AI tools can now do for you, it can give you so much education, so much leverage that you didn't have access to before.
That's it.
So being an expert as you are, how do you think that person starting right now can attach AI to whatever they have to make their entrepreneurship journey easier?
No, it's such a good point, man. And, one of my first businesses, it ran for about 11 years, was a product design house and a development house. So we had a bunch of designers, we had a bunch of strategists, and we had a bunch of developers. If I had to start that business over from scratch right now, it would never be a business of 40. It wouldn't have to be, right? Because right now, if I have a concept, if I have an idea, you and I are sitting here and we want to launch a platform, we can vibe code that thing, come up with an amazing prompt using ChatGPT or Gemini, put that thing into a platform called Lovable or Replit, right? And it can build that platform or that mobile application idea within minutes, right? And we can hit publish, and by next week, we're live and we're marketing. And so the tools that exist right now make the path to get to market so much faster, right? They can expand your creative ideas so much faster and almost for free. So there's amazing tools and capabilities that exist right now. But at the same time, if I'm an entrepreneur, there's also a lot of noise in the market. Do we need another application? Do I need another platform? Do I need another AI-powered X? And so for me, AI should be used to expand your creativity, should be used to expand your reach and your markets, right? And the research and the tools that you have and the data that you're thinking about. There's so many use cases for that, right? If we think about producing a platform like this, right? AI should be used to find your next guest, should be used to help you with research. It should be used to translate this into how many African languages, right? It should be used to export this to all parts of the globe and to segment this down into social media posts, YouTube posts with different strategies for all kinds of archetypes. AI should be used to do that, right? Instead of just we record, we hit play, and we publish, right? And so I think that every part of your environment and your job and your duties, you should be plugging AI to say, how can I push this further? How can I push this thinking further? What have I not considered? How would Mr. Beast do this? You know what I mean? Or anybody else, how would they think about this? And that's the power that's in your pocket, right? For essentially for free.
Things that you would have had to pay experts for at first to help you out.
I mean, think about it. I mean, producing this platform 10 years ago would have been tremendously expensive.
Exactly.
Right? And thinking about reach to multiple countries all across the globe, it would have been impossible.
Yeah.
Right? Now it's all readily available. You know, the example that I often use is that AI allows you to be that superhero version of yourself.
Sure.
Right? Doesn't replace you, doesn't get rid of you,
Yeah.
but it enhances your powers. It enhances your capabilities,
Yeah.
right? So that's what we must tap into. That's how we must use it.
So then that defeats the myth
Yes.
that AI is going to take our jobs.
Yeah. You know, I really haven't seen many jobs that are going to be fully replaced by AI. I haven't yet. I've seen a lot of job functions be replaced by AI. Right. And I think that's a reality, right? If we think about post-production, that's been replaced by AI, that capability. But has creativity been replaced?
No.
Has the need for wisdom been replaced? No, it's all still there. And so I worry less about jobs and entire industries being replaced. But the reality is every single job must be using this thing.
Yeah.
Right. And we liken it to kind of the smartphone movement of 10, 20 years ago, right? If you think about now, could you operate your business right now without a smartphone? No, you couldn't. You wouldn't last a day.
You know,
right?
when social media came,
exactly.
there was a lot of resistance to it. Traditional media felt like this isn't real media. This isn't real journalism and everything.
Yes.
But now you can't operate a business without social media.
That's where the eyeballs are, right? Yeah. That's where we are. So you've made all these adjustments. Has business completely been replaced? No, it's had to make these shifts and evolutions as the technology evolved, right?
Sure. So this means we need to start integrating AI into everything that we do.
Yeah.
But how do we get people to accept and understand that? Yeah. I was watching something. I was watching a battle going on about AI copyright.
Yes.
Where they were talking about the fact that, let's say, a generated image on AI is not authentic.
Yes, for
it's
sure.
It's not creative.
Yes.
So you can't copyright it.
Yes.
And then somebody commented under and mentioned the fact that when photography was introduced, it took 50 years before they allowed you to copyright a photograph.
Right.
Because everyone said it's not real art, because real art is when
painted or drawn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at what point do you think we start to shift and understand that, okay, these are just tools, the same way we went from calculating in our mind to the abacus, to the calculator,
for
sure. Excel.
Yes, exactly.
These are just tools that can enhance.
Yeah.
So at what point do we get people to start embracing it?
It's a really good point. I think the easiest path to get people to embrace the latest tools is to let them play with it. Okay. Right? Otherwise, it's super scary. Yeah. It's super intimidating. It is this robot that's going to replace me. It's this thing that's doing things I've never seen before, right? I don't understand it. But if we can just get people to play with the technology, play with an LLM, play with ChatGPT, just a little bit, ask it some questions. That's the first step. I think when it comes down to creativity and copyright, we do have to be careful about not outsourcing everything and all of our capabilities. Sure. Otherwise, the next version of this show is our digital twins, right? is Richie 2.0, right?
I created my clone though on AI, but the accent was wrong.
You see what I mean, right? But soon it won't be, right? Yeah. But we can't outsource. Now I can't send my digital twin to come talk to yours and we completely outsource our thinking. Because I look on LinkedIn often and you'll see an AI generated post and then a million AI generated comments. And it's like everyone's AI is now talking to each other and it looks completely ridiculous. And you're like, who's winning here? No one, right? So I think we can't fully outsource that, right? And think about, all of our thinking, all of our creativity handed over to the machines. Yeah. How do we use it to help our lives better, not replace us? Yeah. Right. And I think that's the blurred line that we have to be careful of.
And I was watching somebody talk about AI and they said something so valuable where they said, we shouldn't let AI replace what we do, but enhance what we do.
That's it.
So for instance, if you need to write an essay or you need to write a proposal, don't go to an LLM and say, write a proposal for blah, blah, blah.
That's it.
Do your write-up.
Yes.
Then put that in the AI and tell it that, what am I missing here?
That's it.
What angle did I not think about?
Exactly
How can I
it.
make this better?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's how I use it. I mean, I think about even writing my book, right? Is that you could outsource your thinking and say, hey, write me a book about leadership.
Yeah.
And give me the 10 best and what might be a bestseller.
And then it'll be generic.
It'll be completely generic and clear. But if I can put in, here's my thoughts about this, here's this chapter, and here's this chapter, and here's this thought. Is there connection? Help me edit this book and help me think about, hey, where did I miss? Am I repeating something too much here? Have I missed something completely here? Where do I get better research about this? Right.
Exactly.
And again, it enhances, it doesn't replace, it enhances. That's still my thought. That's still my perspective. That's still my thinking. But now the editing process has been sped up. Right. My research and the case studies that I can pull from has been so much more expanded than my own thinking. That's the opportunity. Yeah.
So we need to treat AI like that cape that gives us superpowers.
It's a superpower enabling thing. That's all it is. But at the end of the day, you're still you, right? You're still you, but I'd rather be a superhero. You know?
Let's talk about your book.
Yes.
Talk to me, the adaptability code.
Yeah.
Recoding the DNA of future ready leadership.
Yeah.
Explain this book to me. Let me give you a prompt.
Yes.
Explain this book to me like I'm a 10-year-old.
That's a very good one. So I talk a lot about leadership. Over my career, I've sold a lot of technology, sold a lot of digital transformation, $1 million projects. But what I realized is that change and adopting new thinking is really difficult, no matter how valuable it is. No matter how game-changing this AI is, it's super scary.
Yeah.
So I thought, what do I need first in order to still make that sale, in order to still take people from here to there, in order to get them to put on that superhero cape, as you mentioned. And I thought it's mindset, and which is, the platform that you've built out with this, right? Is that we need a mindset that says, how do we get on board with change? How do we get on board with disruption? How do we get on board things constantly evolving and moving? And that's adaptability. Adaptability says I can constantly evolve. I can constantly change to the environment around me. Even if the ground is literally shifting underneath me, I'm adaptable. I can still stay strong. I can still get on board with wherever things are going, no matter how much change is happening. And I thought that's a more valuable journey that we need to take leadership, people, managers, whoever on, students, just to get them on board, because technology is not going to slow down. It's going to keep moving. Disruption is not going to slow down. It's going to keep getting more and more aggressive. So change is never going to stop. It's only going to continue speeding up. How do we get on board with that? Is we need to build up this adaptability. So the book is about mindset. There's elements about technology. There's elements about AI, but it's a book that says, how do I get on board with the traits that make me more adaptable, more ready for change?
I like that. I define it as fixed mindset versus growth mindset.
That's it. That's exactly it.
I think we were sort of trained wrong, most of us.
Yes.
But we were made to feel like if you are here, you are going to be there for the rest of your life.
Yes, for sure.
Like, oh, I am good at maths and I'm not good at English. So I'll forever be good at maths and I'll never be good at English.
Yeah.
Whereas having a growth mindset is understanding that I can change.
Yeah.
I like this today, I can like that tomorrow. I can add this on.
Yeah.
I personally have transformed so many times in my life.
You see.
That has made me realize, oh, anything is possible for me.
There's so many versions of you that are possible. No, you're a true model of adaptability for sure. But it's a requirement to survival, right? Forget success. Forget being able to be here 10 years from now. It's a requirement just to survive, as you have to be able to continuously change, see the information around you, see the environment around you, shift. Think about even your own growth. Is that who you are now with a few more gray hairs is very different than the 20-year-old version of you, right? And so that growth is kind of non-negotiable.
And especially because we live in a very dynamic world right now. One thing every futurist will tell you is this is the first time ever we can predict what's coming next. At first, we could always predict that, in the next 5 to 10 years.
This is here.
If you ask me what's going to happen in 2030, no one knows.
Forget 2030, 2026. What's going to happen 6 months from now? We don't really know. True. We just know that it's moving faster than ever before. And that's exactly the premise behind the book, is that I first wrote a book about technology, because my first book back in 2019, Tech Adjacent, was really about understanding how technology works and how it evolves, right? Good book, still relevant. A lot of still case studies there that are gems and still being valuable in the market. I started rewriting a book essentially about where technology is today. And in November last year, I threw it all away. 90,000 words.
Because it had moved.
It had moved on. I was like, well, the world doesn't need another book about tech. And every time I write a chapter, something changes. Next week, something changes. Sam Altman does something to change ChatGPT. And then my points are completely irrelevant. So I thought the world doesn't need another take of where technology is, because as soon as we publish this, as soon as this podcast launches, this episode launches, things are already going to evolve, right? Faster than ever. So how do we get the mindset ready first?
So then if we bring it back to AI, and the biggest fear people have that AI is going to take our jobs, maybe if we learn how to adapt, AI won't take our jobs.
It won't.
Because if you look at something like going from the agricultural era to the industrial era,
yes, for sure,
when you had 100 people being on a farm to harvest the crops, and then they invented tractors, and now you just needed 3 people to do it.
That's it.
So 97 people are out of a job, not really because someone needs to build the tractors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know? Farming still exists. Agriculture still exists as a sector.
Exactly.
Right? But now, to your point, is that if I'm a farmer today, and I have a farm today, whatever I'm farming, whether it's wheat or corn or whatever it is, maize, this is what I need now is the tools to say, let me assess my crops, right? Let me assess the rains. Let me have with great predictability, understand what the drought's going to be. Let me take a quick picture of whatever disease is now infected on my crop and know exactly what it is without having somebody in. All of that is now immediately available because of AI and the tools that we have. You have so much more data. Are you still a farmer? Is farming still relevant? Certainly. But the tools at your disposal are much better than what they were 100 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And if you're continuously evolving and using those things, your job continuously evolves and changes, right? So you're still doing the same thing. You're still here. You're still valuable, but you've changed and you've evolved in so many different versions.
You keep adding on to yourself.
That's it.
Because even one thing most people haven't understood about AI is that AI is only as powerful as the person using it.
That's it.
So I can go and prompt AI right now and ask it for medicine based on my symptoms.
That's it.
But trust me, if a doctor was prompting,
that's it.
It would be more accurate because the information, garbage in, garbage out.
That's 100% it. Yeah. It's so funny that you say that, because what I saw recently was in the medical field. They thought that radiologists and X-ray experts were going to get replaced because of AI, right? Okay. And actually, their jobs have increased by 100-fold, right? Because AI is so valuable to them and they're so able to diagnose and see so many things, they're using X-rays and radiology 100 times more to assess even more things. So they're like, oh, this can do even more things. My job is even better. So you didn't replace me. I still have to take this image, assess it, understand it, know the medical nuances, right? And so my job has actually grown instead of been replaced, right? But a year ago, they thought, radiology, dead. But it's actually grown.
I think it's just incredible. A normal human fear. I think we are all so afraid of either dying or being replaced.
That's it. That's it, man. We don't want to get left behind. And we're also scared of change, right? Our brains, neurologically, they don't like to do things we don't know. We don't like the unknown. We like to do things exactly the way they are. The neural pathways in our brain, they want predictability. They want ease, right? Your brain doesn't want any new things. The new things are scary, right? And so
how do we cheat our brain and let it like new things? How do we make our brain more adaptable?
Firstly, you buy the book.
Buy the book, guys.
Man, but there's so many tools in the book, and I'm so glad that you said that. So, I mean, for me, the traits of adaptability that we talk about in the book, the first one is about resilience, is building a stronger mind that's got a tougher skin, a thicker skin, right? The next one is foresight. We train our brains by looking around, understanding different markets, not just what's happening in my sector, in media, in Ghana, what's happening in agriculture, what's happening in retail, what's happening in communications, what's happening in digital across the world. How does that affect me? The third one is curiosity. Right? How do we ask more questions? How do I just get hungry for more and more information? How do I play more and experiment more? Then we talk about agility, which is about moving quickly, making decisions quickly. Right. And a lot of times we get stuck in kind of this thing of, I want all the information. I want all the data. I need to get everyone's opinion. And we never move. right? Agility is like, let me just go with what I have right now and just for speed, right? And then lastly is a mindset of care. I used to be thinking about empathy, but the reason I shifted into care is care takes responsibility, especially from a leadership standpoint, takes responsibility for people's growth.
Okay.
Takes responsibility for putting you in the best environment to succeed. So I think now more than ever, in order to be adaptable, in order to be great leaders, is we have to take our people along with us because of the fear, because of the worry, is that we have to be more caring. And I liken it to having plants. If you have a plant, you put that plant in the best lighting. You put it, you water it according to the schedule of how much water it needs. You give it the right amount of food. You change the pot every now and then because it's outgrown it. That's the environment that we should take to our employees and the people around us, is that we care for them. We take responsibility to put them in the best environment for them to grow.
True.
And so for me, if we can master these kind of 5 traits of adaptability, then we can hack it. We can change our brains. We can build that new DNA.
I like that.
Yeah.
I really like what you're talking about with care as a leader.
Yeah.
I believe most leaders don't understand that leadership is service.
Yeah. That's 100% it.
Yeah. So you have most leaders wanting their people to care for them.
That's it.
Not understanding that you've taken up the responsibility of caring for others.
Caring for them, right? And their families. Once you're responsible for one, you're responsible for many, right? And I think it's an African thing, is we've got that chief complex, right? So that we must all be the boss. They must all, wait on us. Whereas, no, man, this role means I'm serving you. I'm putting you in the position to grow and succeed. And then we all benefit. We all grow.
I also want to ask about the decision-making that you spoke about. So when it comes to decision-making as a leader, which do you think is more valuable, speed or accuracy?
That's a good one. The typical consulting answer is, it depends. Right? But let me not give you that one. I'd say, in this case, I'd say speed matters, because sometimes, like I said about agility, is that we get caught up in wanting all the information. We get caught up in analysis paralysis, and then we never move anywhere, right? Because we want 100% accuracy, we just go and we stay and we stay. Whereas sometimes you just need to act and you learn along the way, right? You just need to release an episode and you learn, okay, no, lighting needs to improve here. Microphones need to improve here. We're missing this aspect. You wouldn't do that if you tried to analyze and get all the accuracy on day one. Sometimes speed is required. Then you get more accurate along the way as you're going, because you understand, okay, we need to course correct here. We need to course correct here. But if you never start, right? Even birds, you have to kind of go before you can start flying, right? You kind of have to jump.
You have to jump.
you have to jump, and then you start flapping, right? And then you have to go. But if you're trying to say, I'm trying to pinpoint here and get there before, sometimes you just got to jump.
I think what happens to most people is they watch the final version of someone, or let's say the best version of someone, and think that they are too low to get there, so they start to analyze themselves too much. Like you come to start a podcast and you're watching Diary of a CEO, you're watching Mel Robbins, and you're like, but I don't have these lights and I don't have these cameras, I don't have these guests. But you don't realize that Steve Bartlett started in his living room on his phone.
Where was he 1,000 episodes ago?
Exactly.
That's a very good
point. I was actually, Steve Bartlett said something where he mentioned that the only time to know if your decision was right is on hindsight.
That's it.
So sometimes accuracy does not even exist. Accuracy only exists after you've made the decision.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a really good point, man. And I think people mustn't discount the gray hairs. Especially young people. Like, I know you're ready. I know the tools are there. You want to grow. But the hindsight of all of these gray hairs, right?
Very
and no
valuable.
hairs is incredibly valuable, because if I tell you my story from start to finish, or start to where I am now, right now it makes perfect sense. If I look back, oh, this is why I shifted from here. This is what happened with this company. This is why this job. This is why I first started speaking, and now I got to this kind of stage and we're able to charge this kind of fee going from here. It all makes perfect sense now, looking back. Now. But in each of those moments, it looked like chaos.
And it always does look like chaos.
It was like, what is going on? What is happening here? And so I think you mustn't discount the 10,000 hours, the gray hairs that you have to put in to get to a certain stage. I was talking to a client a few weeks ago, and I was saying, the only reason I have the clients that I have now are because of my gray hairs, actually, right? Before I had these, they're like, this guy's too young. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He hasn't seen enough. But now I can step into that room and directly advise the CEO because he's like, I can relate to this guy. He's seen some things. He's gone through some things. I think I still have the same knowledge that I had back then without the grays, but it's evolved. Now I've got more wisdom.
Thank you.
And I love that. And I think that's the difference, is wisdom is through the scars, it's through the storms, it's through the difficulties, right? And still weathering through it, that packages your full experience. And you can't rush it.
No, you can't.
You literally can't. Is that with your wisdom right now, before we joined, you were dealing with a crisis. You can deal with that quickly. Now, if something happened and the lighting changed, the microphones, you and I could still keep going and finish this conversation. If your tablet crashed and you had no more questions, you'd still, because of the wisdom and experience that you've built over all these years to understand how to keep moving. You can't discount that. You can't replace it. You have to go through that. And I think right now, a lot of people are just rushing. And it's not to say you can't be good. It's not to say you can't start, but you got to know that, like you said, hindsight, it only makes sense later on when you've gone through some things.
You need to go through it. When I was younger and I was told that wisdom comes with age, it used to make me very upset. Like these old people, man, they don't know anything. But then I came to understand that, knowledge is in youth, that's easy. But wisdom comes with experience. Let's not even say age. Let's say experience.
Yes, going through things.
Because one thing that is happening right now is because of social media, and social media celebrates highlights.
Yes, for sure.
Only the good moments. So it's making everybody think you can snap your finger.
And get there. Yeah, for sure.
But it doesn't work like that. You need to go through it. You need to suffer. You need to have the great days, the bad days, the days you thought you'd never recover from. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, why was I stressing over that?
Look at me now. I made it.
You need to go through all of that.
That's 100% true. That's it, man. And like you said, even with Stephen Bartlett, you got to go through 10,000 episodes to become brilliant.
Exactly. So I remember before I started the podcast, my goal was episodes. My goal was never views. My goal was never
I love that.
subscribers. So I checked the podcast that I used to watch a lot. For the first time, I checked the episodes. I think Mel Robbins was at 350. Stephen Butler was like 800 and something. Jay Shetty was 400. So I said, okay, I'm setting a goal for 500 episodes.
I love it.
So right now, every time I'm posting, so if you watch, every post has the number of episodes at the end. Because that's my goal. Even if I have only 2 viewers.
It doesn't matter. We're pushing.
We're pushing.
And that's the thing, is that think about how much you're learning with that in mind. If you were just stressing about views and likes and engagement, then every episode you would be assessing and just trying to do too much and make every single one so perfect versus the wisdom that comes through just doing more and more and more, right?
And that way too, you see, the person watching also gets more value. Because I don't want to treat the audience right now like they're only going to watch this episode. So this episode just needs to be exactly perfect. No, I'm a work in progress too. Just like they're a work in progress.
For sure. We're all growing. We're all developing throughout this entire journey.
So we'll grow together.
I love it. And it comes through, man. It comes through authentically. I see it.
I like that.
Okay.
Let's talk to leaders right now. Because I think leadership is one of the toughest things in the world. Everybody's trying to be a leader. But I don't wish leadership on anybody. You're someone who's spoken to a lot of CEOs, a lot of leaders, and helped guide them. How do you think somebody's able to navigate the stormy waters that is leadership?
So I think one thing that we don't speak about often enough is the curse of success. Right? Is that oftentimes because we're striving for success, we think that's the main goal. However, what I see most times, and if you look at research around disruption, typically it's the most successful people that get replaced.
True.
Right? Because what happens is when we're successful, we think, oh, everything that got me to this point, 20 years, 10 years, whatever I did to get to this is what I must do to stay here.
True.
And the real reality, and what I talk about a lot, is whatever has got you here because of where we are in the world and business and leadership and technology today, that's not what's going to be what's going to get you to that next level. It's not what's going to be to get you there. And I think sometimes when we're successful, we don't want to change anything because it's what's got us here.
Yeah.
We don't want to change our leadership style. We don't want to change the way that we manage people, the way we speak to them, right? We think that this rugged way of doing things and how it got us to this successful point is adequate.
True.
And if you are not adapting, if you're not able to say, okay, cool, this is what was this phase, what's going to take us to that next phase? If we're not able to do that, you definitely get replaced.
Yeah.
And that's usually what happens when I speak to leaders or excos. I'm like, oh, you guys just haven't changed in 10 years. That's why your performance is going down. It's because you're not changing. You're not evolving. And I think when we can get them into that ability of changing, evolving, adapting, that's the key to successful leadership.
That's so true. And I think I faced that and had that problem for a while.
Yeah.
Because I started my business, not as a business, but a talented guy in his room playing beats.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point, okay, I need one more person. Then I'm managing a company of 3. Everybody was living in the house with me while we were working.
Yes.
Then now we're a company of 5. Okay, we've moved out to the house, but it's still very family.
Yeah.
Like we can have board meetings in my bedroom. Do you get what I mean?
For sure.
Then now it's 10 people. Then, okay, now this person feels you're too close to this person.
Yes.
Then, okay, I need to change my leadership style. I can't be as friendly as I used to be.
Yeah.
I've had to change who I am, let's say every 2 to 3 years to get to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. And to accommodate your team, right? And what their requirements are. Yeah.
Because when you're handling 3 people versus handling 100 people versus now handling so many people online, you need to, and I think most people don't understand that the only way to change your situation is to change something about you.
Yes, for sure.
So when you want to go to the next level, you need to develop some skills
to push you there.
To push you to the next level.
That's for sure. And typically it's a mindset that's holding you back first and foremost. Then it's the action. Then the success can come.
True.
You know, you're spot on. And I think we don't talk enough about that in kind of startup culture, is that there's a difference between being a founder and an entrepreneur to being a business owner, to being a business leader, to being a CEO. That CEO title comes a little bit too soon for many people, right?
Most people are CEO of company of one.
Yeah, for sure. That's not what it means, right? Chief executive officer means there must be an executive, right? There must be other people here for me to be a chief too, right? Officer, like there's a service that's happening and there's evolution from each of those phases of business and leadership. And I don't think we talk about that often enough, and about the mindsets that must change along the way. Yeah.
So do you think that's what makes it difficult for us to build systems? Because when you start, there is no system, because you are the system.
You're the system.
Let's say, for instance, when you start, you have a company of 3. You're not sending emails back and forth between 3 people.
You're just sending messages here. We're on WhatsApp. And then it's like, what happens now when we need formal communication? It's true. And I think we don't think about those shifts. I always tease people in South African context. I always say it's a very different company once you have 2 Leratos. Maybe in Ghana, it's like you have 2 Kwames on the team, or maybe you have 4 Kwames, who knows, right? But it's like when you hit those points of, now we've moved from 10 people to 20 to 40 to 400. Those are completely different cultures and dynamics. And then the systems have to change along the way, right? You can't just get away with, now we do a text message group, WhatsApp communication. No, we need to put in those principles to say, this is how communication happens. This is how meetings happen. Exactly. This is how meetings are structured. This is how we govern our business. And if you align those things as you grow, then it's an easier journey.
Because we went from a point when we're just a 3-man team. When I find out some information, I'm calling you, we get it done.
That's it.
Then it got to a point I realized, okay, I called them, but I didn't call him.
Yes.
So now on the day, not enough people have the information. Then why didn't you tell this person? So then we switched to the WhatsApp groups.
Yes, for sure.
And then now it started getting too big where, okay, reporting, going to check, then realize, okay, no, now
this isn't the one way.
More.
Yeah, we need a system in place now.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's true, man. And I think those shifts, like you said, are necessary, because how we start is not how we're going to continue and be.
How do we get people comfortable with the shift?
It's like we were saying about shifting the brain, right? And tricking the brain into being adaptable and showing the value that occurs, right? Of what is the value of actually being able to change and adapt? And if you look at all the business cases of the most adaptable leaders and adaptable companies, it'll show you that there's a strong business case in doing this thing, right? Because the ones that don't adapt, they get left behind. I think adaptable businesses, companies outperform their competitors by 4 times.
True.
If I'm outperforming you by 4 times, we're no longer competitors. I'm sorry, my brother. We're not the same anymore, right? And I think if you show that that's the value of change and that's the benefit of change, it's an easier journey to start to go on. And it becomes less scary, less intimidating.
Okay. Yeah. So I think then adaptability really boils down to learning.
Yeah. And continuous learning.
Yeah.
Right? It's not I learned and I stopped here.
Yeah.
No, it's not I transformed once. It's a process of keep transforming, keep changing, keep learning. Yeah.
I used to believe when I was young, wow, I was stupid when I was young.
You thought we were clever. Hey, nah.
I used to believe I had a limit of learning. I used to believe I would learn, get to a point.
And then that's enough.
And that's it. And then at every point, I realized, no, I have so much more to learn.
Yeah,
I think one thing I've come to see about knowledge is the more knowledge you get, the more you realize you don't know anything.
That's it, hey? Yeah. And you realize you absolutely know nothing at all. You know nothing, Jon Snow, right? That's it, man. But I think that takes a certain level of humility and a certain level of also just kind of wisdom as well to say, I don't know everything. I don't have to know everything. Because I think when we're younger, we were trying to prove to everyone, I just got this knowledge. I'm going to show you that I have this knowledge, right? Where you get older, you're like, you know what? I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Let me find the people that do, right? And then I'm not so scared of not knowing everything, right?
It's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. Like
work
that's not my lane. I'm a work in progress. Or this is where I am, and then I have knowledge of my strengths, and I also have knowledge of my weaknesses.
Yeah.
So with that, instead of trying to overwhelm with my strengths, I say this is how I fill the gaps with my weaknesses. This is who I need to bring on board because this is where I'm lacking. Whereas ego and pride at the beginning says, no, I must know everything and do everything and be the strongest and loudest in the room. I'm that guy. I'm him. Right? I'm okay, man. I'm this guy. I'm over here now. I'm okay with it.
And I would say the podcast has really done that for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because I've read so much in my life, learned so much in my life. Yeah. And then I sit down with someone and they have a completely different take. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, wow, I never thought about it like that. Yeah. And it just reminds me day in, day out that, even as we're advising people and pushing out knowledge to people, every single human being out there has a different perspective that makes them very knowledgeable.
100%. Yeah. And there's so many people that exist that are so successful doing something completely different than you. Yeah. Right? I always wonder when I see certain cars driving on the road, I'm like, I wonder what that person does. Like, there's someone who's selling toilet paper, who's making a lot more money than me. How does he think? How does she think? Right? And I think once you're open to that, then you're open, like you said, to learning. And I think that's the power of conversations, the power of community. Is the more open you are to different voices, you're always going to be learning something. I mean, I wish I had my notes here about the gems I've learned from you, man, but I'll write them down after, and I think that's that comes again with wisdom and humility.
I like that. Yeah. I think everybody watching can now be more certain of the future that AI is not going to take your job once you decide to adapt. Yeah,
that's it. If you do, then you always have a job. You always have something to do.
Because one thing I always push for is excellence.
Yeah.
I always say I don't like the concept of perfect.
Yes.
Perfection is not attainable, but excellence is. Because I define excellence as what I can do best.
Yes. It's a standard.
Yes. So at any point in time, what I can do best today is my excellence.
Yeah, for sure.
It may not be the same 5 years from now. But I'll be excellent 5 years from now, no matter what.
It's the quality of the effort that you put in.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not the perfection. Yeah. It's the energy you put into it.
Once you stay excellent and keep pushing, I think most people also get stuck. The same way there's the analysis paralysis, they also get stuck in that trap where they're trying to be perfect. I want my podcast to be perfect before I release it. I want my book to have just the right.
I want my Instagram feed to look like this. I want my aesthetics on. Like it's impossible.
It's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible.
I've read a book. There's this author. I read his book and there were so many grammatical mistakes in the book, but my God, there was so much knowledge in it. Actually, I was telling my partner that I've seen so many mistakes, but I don't mind.
I'm
because
okay
I've
with this.
gained
There's still
so much
value.
knowledge.
No, it's true, man. You know, even when I'm speaking, is the gigs that are the most fun and they're most impactful is when something kind of goes wrong. I don't want it to. I've got a gig right after this. I don't want it to go wrong, right? But it's so beautiful because that's when you kind of have to adapt, right? Then you have to think on your toes. You get a question that you're not expecting. You get a scenario, and then then your knowledge is really tested. Right? Then you're asked to really deliver, right? And I love that because it pushes me out of the stock standard of let me give you this. This is my script A to Z. I know it back and forth. I like when you push me to think a little bit different.
So that the human factor comes out.
That's it, man. Yeah, man. Otherwise, I could have came even to this conversation super scripted and known this is exactly what I'm going to say. And guys, sorry, let's retake and shoot that one again because I didn't say it exactly like this. Whereas the flow and even how you conduct conversations is natural. It's authentic. And I think there's value in that. And I think that even when we think about AI, there's value in us still remaining human. Right? Is we can clearly see AI generated this, AI generated that, right? And we appreciate now the humanity, the authenticity that comes in that. And I think now more than ever, instead of trying to outsource everything to AI, we must think about where can I still stay human? Right? Where can I still connect with people? Human? That's it. And sometimes that's errors, sometimes that's mistakes, right? But there's still value there.
My godfather, he was a video director. He taught me one thing. We were talking about beauty on camera one day, and he told me that the most beautiful face on camera is the face that is not perfectly symmetrical. He mentioned that the mistakes.
That actually creates beauty and authenticity. I love that. I'm going to use that. I love it.
I want you to do one thing for me, right?
Yes, sure.
So like I said, the purpose of this is to turn everybody watching into a mastermind.
Okay.
I want you to imagine you could stretch your hand through the camera into the brain of that person watching and drop one mindset shift that will take them on the path to success. What would that be?
Sure. We already told them to buy the book, so I'm not going to say that. But I think for me, it goes back to what you were saying a little bit earlier about failure. Is eat failure. Chew it every day. Chase the next one. Because the benefit of failures is so many lessons learned. If I think about my biggest failures, they hurt, they were painful, some of them were expensive, right? But each one of them has crafted a better version of me and molded a better version of me. So what I would say, instead of trying to chase perfection and the perfect product, the perfect project, perfect business, it's like go and chase the things that are going to put you at risk to fail a little bit and then bounce back. Right, and see what that lesson takes you, and then you're gonna grow. Then these gray hairs are gonna be valuable along the way.
We love the grays.
We love the grays, man. We'll take some more. It's fine, because I know each of these was molded because each of these stress points, each of these failures, each of these mistakes. I'm not gonna make those again. I've become a better version of myself. And it's one of the things I actually appreciate getting older because I'm getting better each year. Right? I know where I'm improving. I know where I've got more wisdom. I'm making better decisions. I'm making better business deals because of my age, because of my maturity.
I love that. And thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for the book.
Pleasure, my brother.
Please get the book. The Adaptability Code. I'm going to read this and perfect how to be more adaptable.
No, for sure. But you're already on the path, my brother, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I hope watching this episode took you one step closer to becoming the mastermind that I know you deserve to be. Thank you for watching this episode. Now, the Mastermind's dream is about building a community of people who have the right mindset and are ready to take their success into their own hands. So do me this wonderful favor. Subscribe and share with anybody out there who you believe you want to see have the right mindset to succeed, so that together we can all become the masterminds we deserve to be.